After 20 long years together, Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban are done. They're headed towards a divorce, and it looks like they've been split up since this summer. What's even more shocking is that it looks like Keith already has another woman. I wonder if he was cheating on her. Supposedly, sources are saying that all the signs point to the fact that Keith is with this other woman, and Nicole doesn't dispute that. And supposedly it's the talk of Nashville. They're based in Nashville. Supposedly Keith has his own house there, his own bachelor pad. And you know what? I've been calling this out for months that these two were done. It looks like they separated in June, but I think there's more to this story. So let's get into it. Even though I have my opinions about this couple, it's sad that they are separating. I never like to see people divorcing and a family being pulled apart. 20 years is a long time, especially for people who are in the industry. Typically we see, people last maybe 5, 7 years, 10 years is a lot. 20 is unreal. And when we talk about these Hollywood breakups on the channel, typically they're civil. Like each partner wants to separate. But this case is even sadder because supposedly Nicole wanted to stay in this marriage, but Keith wanted nothing to do with her. Nicole Kidman has reportedly been fighting to save her marriage to Keith Urban before the separation. Sources say she didn't want this. And I'm sure she didn't. I mean, well, you know what? Actually, have you guys seen some of the movie roles that she's taken these last few years? Like hooking up with younger men. She's been working a lot too. It seems like she doesn't have a lot of time for him. So maybe Keith was kind of over that and watching his wife constantly hooking up with younger men in movies, which, you know what? Go off, Nicole. Do your thing. She's got a certain type of role she likes to play. She can't help herself. But a source tells people that she didn't want this. She's been fighting to save the marriage. Back in June, Nicole celebrated their 19th wedding anniversary with a black and white photograph of Keith on Instagram, writing "Happy Anniversary, baby." They do share 2 children, a 17 and a 14-year-old. So, they're pretty young. This is definitely going to affect them. In December 2024, Nicole also raved about date nights with Keith. Nicole said, "I like being asked out," which he still does. "7 nights ago, we went to dinner in New York. We love Japanese food, but I'm open to everything." Honestly, same. I'll eat anything. In April of that same year, 2024, Nicole Kidman told People about her lovely family support system, saying, "I'm so lucky that I have Keith, who's just my love, my deep, deep love."
No, he would hate. I don't think anyone's the perfect anything. I think you're heading for trouble if you consider yourself the perfect couple, which is kind of what Greer says in the show. It's like, we don't want it to be that. No, I'm not a believer in perfect.
Like I said, Nicole has been fighting to save this marriage, and I believe her. Even though they separated in June, she was caught wearing her wedding ring 4 days before the breakup news hit the media, which is why so many people are taken back. We didn't get too many warning signs. I mean, I know I've talked about some blind items before in my videos, but none of the mainstream media picked it up. Maybe Nicole's calculated with this. She didn't want the news to hit headlines before they did their formal announcement. I knew something was up. Do you guys remember when I spoke about she becoming a resident or at least getting a Portuguese visa, work visa, so that Nicole could go and live in Portugal? Well, when she did that, Keith Urban didn't apply for the same gig. He wasn't going with her, which is where I first detected some trouble in paradise, because why would you go and leave your husband and go and work in another country? That happened after June, and Nicole didn't even include Keith on her paperwork that she applied with. They ask you a bunch of questions about your family and things like that, and he was nowhere to be found. Now, when the news hit that he wasn't going to Portugal, they did have a spokesman go out and say that he will be going to Portugal. He would be submitting his application at a later time because he's currently on tour, but I'm calling BS. Clearly, he was covering up for, this separation that they were going through.
Nicole Kidman might soon be calling Paris Hilton and George Clooney her neighbours. The 58-year-old is reportedly eyeing a home in the ultra-exclusive Costa Terra Golf and Ocean Club. This is a luxury community nestled on Portugal's blue coast. It's just over an hour south of Lisbon in the picturesque Comporta region. Costa Terra sprawls across more than 800 acres and was developed by the US-based Discovery Land Company, renowned for its elite clubs globally. There are a wealth of high-end amenities, from an equestrian centre to an organic farm. Local reports indicate Kidman has applied for a Portuguese residency permit, but it's unclear if her husband, country music legend Keith Urban, has done the same.
We've heard a lot from Nicole's side. She's been trying to fight for this marriage, but I want to talk a little bit about Keith Urban. Now, I guess this wasn't a secret to Keith and his friends because his entire friend circle knew that their divorce was inevitable, which after 20 years is pretty wild to think about. If I was Nicole, I would feel so uncomfortable that my husband's friends are all like waiting for us to split. One of Keith's sources say that it hasn't been a secret and that they've been living separately for a while now. People close to Keith felt like the split was kind of inevitable, waiting for it to happen. The entire Kidman family has come together to support one another. She didn't want this. Of course, she didn't want it. I feel like Nicole Kidman, though, her dating life could be pretty, iconic. I mean, she did have Tom Cruise, then Keith Urban. Who will she snag up next?
When people say that they will do something and they don't. And I don't like being let down. I also have a thing with Keith, actually, where I call him, and I know it's terribly demanding, but if he doesn't answer and I have to keep calling back, I get anxious, so I don't like that. Does that make me high maintenance?
This person on Reddit says, married since 2006, they gave it a good run. In Hollywood time, that's like 45 years. Bet the prenup goes up to 20 years. I don't know why, but I always thought he was gay or bi. Probably his lesbian haircut. Okay, you guys need to calm down on Reddit. Wouldn't be surprised if he comes out after this divorce. Now, I don't know about that. He could be like a little Hugh Jackman moment and have his Nashville babe that he hangs out with. She's always filming and he tours a lot. It looked like they avoided each other unless there's a red carpet. I have no idea who raises the kids or if they have a system of one parent home. This person added that they used to have a rule, no more than 2 weeks apart. They'd make it work. With the amount of TV and movies she's in, she's probably away from home 362 days a year, and he's touring and getting blonde streaks put in his hair. So he's also quite busy. Wow, gossip sites have hinted at marriage troubles for years, but this time it's apparently accurate. If I remember correctly, he has addiction issues off and on, so not surprising. Which I've heard that he has had issues with addiction, and Nicole has been a big supporter of his sobriety. I audibly gasped seeing this headline. Nicole and Keith just seemed like that one Hollywood couple that would last forever. I remember when they first got together, he was almost immediately in rehab. I figured at this point they would have worked out whatever needed working out. Here's an interview Nicole did where she speaks about Keith going into rehab right in the beginning of their relationship.
Keith stopped drinking at some point soon after you got married, and it's talked about how supportive you were in that. What kind of advice do you have to someone whose partner or spouse needs help with that?
To get help,
Yeah.
to put your hand up, to reach out, and there is absolutely help out there. But you can't save somebody, they've got to save themselves, which is a very big thing for people like me who go, I can take care of you, I can do it. It's a massive lesson, because as much as you think, I thought I can do all the work for him, I can make him better, I can take it away, I can help. And at some point you just have to say, I love you and I'm here when you decide to do the work.
Now, besides the blind items and the reports we've seen of trouble in paradise, we have seen other signs. Like, we haven't seen Nicole and Keith together publicly since June. And I feel like every time they were together ever, they went publicly, like out and about, like it's probably for a red carpet event or some celebrity gig. So not seeing them at any events for a couple months, also not seeing them in any social media posts. We haven't seen Nicole acknowledge him ever since their anniversary. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Nicole has been taking on interesting kind of roles the last few years. Seems like there's something up, and people have noticed. And actually, in a radio interview that Keith was doing, the radio host asked him about some of her inappropriate roles, some of the sex scenes, and he got so offended, he actually left the interview. Keep in mind that this is like a radio interview, so he called in, but here's that clip.
First thing I thought of, with your beautiful wife, Nicole Kidman, being on so many great movies, TV shows all the time. I watched a movie with her and Zac Efron recently, Family Affair, and I thought,
that's a good one.
What does Keith Urban think when he sees his beautiful wife with beautiful younger men like Zac Efron having these beautiful love scenes on TV and radio? Oh, why has that happened? What's just happened here?
He's disconnected from Zoom.
Did he just hang up on us?
I think his team hung up on us because they didn't want us to ask that question.
Really?
Yeah.
That's 100%.
Were we told not to ask that?
No.
While Max was in disbelief, confirming that the radio show hadn't been warned ahead of time not to ask personal questions, Haley shared she'd been worried about this exact scenario.
But he was like smiling.
See you,
I know,
Keith.
but he doesn't like the personal stuff.
What do you mean?
Oh, I knew that would happen.
No way. That was
We've
a nice.
upset him.
We haven't upset Keith, have we?
Yeah, he's gone. I knew that was going to happen.
I thought we were vibing with Keith.
I knew that was going to happen.
Do we have beef with Keith Urban now? If you knew it was going to happen, why didn't you stop me asking the question?
That's why I said to you, I don't want to have a part of this, because I don't want to ask these questions because he'll hate us. I don't want to make him feel uncomfortable.
Let's get into some of those blind items I've been referring to because, like I said in my series Blind Item Breakdown, we've been talking about this relationship falling apart. Like this blind item from May 28th. It reads, the reason this A-list actress, who you think was born somewhere else but wasn't, is upset with her husband is not because of his words, but because he's seemingly obsessed with this A-list singer, sometimes actress, which included Ariana Grande. Which I can't imagine Keith Urban being obsessed with Ariana Grande. So that last blind item was from May 2024. Our next blind item is from August 2024. Now this time, Nicole's the cheater in this situation. Speaking of marriages being over, this A-list actress, who will have an EGOT by the time her career is finished, was all over a guy who was not her husband while out of the country enjoying the big